Discover 4 unique highlights across my vintage comic collection. First, explore the thrilling new graphic novels I read right here today. Second, join me uncovering rare vintage finds and hidden gems during massive weekend comic book hauls. Finally, browse through countless organized comic boxes and admire colorful issues displayed beautifully on classic spinner racks. Subscribe today and share your favorite classic comic book memories in the comments below.
Hello, everybody. It's me again, Lady Pop Hunter here. And today we are doing another episode of What Am I Reading? And I know I haven't done this in a while, but I have been reading quite a few comic books since the last time we had a episode. So the last episode that we did, I was reading some romance comics and then I was still reading some, but then I started reading what you see here on the screen, Ripley's Believe It or Not, the true ghost stories. And I had a few of them, and I just kind of ignored them because I got them in a lot, and I was like, that's not going to be all that good. And then David actually bought me some, and I was like, oh man. And then I was at work. Well, I was going to work, and I knew I was going to be sitting around for a while, about a week, doing some observations and stuff like that. So I was like, well, I'll just grab these, read it while I'm there. And if I don't like it, I can just do something else. And they were surprisingly really good books. So the Ripley's Believe It or Not started in 1965 by Gold Key, and it had 94 issues from 1965 to 1980. 94 issues, and they're not that expensive. I mean, you find them in the dollar bin. Um, They're not expensive. They're under $3. So you can easily pick them up, or maybe even if you are interested, go on eBay and find them in a lot. But they're anthologies, and they're supposedly true ghost stories. It's not like the TV show. I remember in, I guess, the 80s, the Ripley's Believe It or Not TV show came out. I only remember that they showed you like strange, well, at that time it was strange things, because I remember they were talking about the cash register, and they were, and how in the future that they won't, the cashier wouldn't have to punch in the keys anymore, that it would be scanned. And back in the 80s, that was a big deal. And Jack Palance, believe it or not. But these right here are ghost stories. They're actually really good, and they are believable. And within the books, or within the comics, they have some stories. And the stories that they tell are pretty good. And this one right here is a duplicate. So I always say I'll probably do a giveaway, but my books, and this one is by Whitman. It's just a reprint by Whitman. My books are so bad, I don't think anybody would want them. They'd be like, "What's she trying to give us, some garbage?" But I like it. I would take it and be happy with it, but I wouldn't do that to somebody. This story right here was good. Okay, so you see the clock. This this lady here, this was in the I think it was the late 1800s, early 1900s. And this lady, she had a maid. Yeah, it was the 1900s. She wasn't a slave, she was a maid. And the maid really liked her jewelry and stuff, and would always like, oh, this is so nice. This is beautiful. I wish I had something like it. And she would hold it and touch it and stuff like that. But she would always put it back. So the lady, the mistress of the house, had this ring, and the maid was really on to this ring. Was like, oh, this is beautiful, blah blah blah. And she lost the ring. And she automatically thought that the maid took it. And I mean, that's the way you thought, that this maid took the ring. So she accused the maid of taking the ring. And the maid was like, I didn't take your ring. And she fired her, moved on. And then this alarm, well, not this alarm clock, this grandfather clock started screaming and just screaming. And they couldn't get it to stop. They couldn't get it to stop screaming, and they tried everything. And the husband broke up the clock, and the mistress found her ring in the clock. And then she remembered she was winding the clock, and the ring fell off and fell into the clock. So they went to the maid's house, and her mom was like, she committed suicide because she was so broke up that the mistress of the house accused her of theft. She just couldn't take it anymore, and she killed herself. This story right here, it was funny. This lady is the wife of this guy, and she is awful. Oh, she's awful. And she's just hounding this guy. And the wife dies, and the husband is moving on. He meets a new woman, and every time he goes to meet the lady, um he sees an image of his wife, and she's like, ah, no one's gonna have you, only me. And then he would run away. And this happened like 3 times. And then he asked his friend, hey, go meet this lady and tell me what you see. The friend goes, meets the lady, falls in love, and they get married. And she was like, you didn't see no hideous creature? And he was like, no, it was his wife. And the wife came back. I told you you'll never be with anyone but me. It was funny, but it was really good. This was another good story about gambling. And this guy, I can't remember this one. I know they were gambling, but I can't remember the details of it. So I don't want to mess it up. But I'm sure it was a very, very good story. Weird area. She was a vision of loveliness with murder in her ghostly eyes. Oh, this lady is a ghost, and she pops up everywhere at this house and scares people to death. The tortured girl speaks with the voice of a dead man. The house is haunted, and the ghosts possess the daughter of the house. And then they find out that before this family moved into the house, it was a girl that age. I can't remember. I think she was 16, 17 years old. It was her birthday. And on her birthday, she committed suicide. So when this girl, her birthday was coming up, she became possessed by the spirit of the girl that lived in the house before. And she was on the brink of suicide, and they found out and was able to stop it, exorcise the spirit. The Girl Who Cried Ghost, Revenge of the Red Spirit, Xena's Friend, and the Girl Who Would Be King. That was the story of the Joan of Noah's Ark, Joan of Arc, the Joan of Arc story, the girl who would be king. And the last one was another gambling story. This guy, he dies on a ship. He loses all his money gambling and commits suicide. And this girl, her and her husband, are in the room he was in when he was on the ship. They're on their honeymoon. And he comes to her and gives her a coin and was like, I want you to go and to the casino and you play until I tell you to stop. And as soon as I tell you to stop, you quit. And, she wakes up, she tells her husband, they go and do it, and they're on a winning streak. And then he shows up and she was like, okay, we have to stop. And she had explained all this to the husband. And the husband is like, did you get the sign? And she was like, yeah, I'm sure I did. I see him and I didn't see him before. So I'm seeing him now. And they stop. And then they go back to the room, they take all of their winnings, and then they find out that this guy was on the ship. He lost all of his money and committed suicide. And I want to say the amount was like $13,000, and that's how much they won. He wanted to give back by allowing somebody else to win the money he lost. That's the last one. And that's what I have been reading. Ripley's Believe It or Not. So, what do you think? Do you like the Ripley's Believe It or Not? I know I'm horrible at telling stories, right? But I hope I told them good enough to pique your interest. And it's something that you would now want to at least check out or read one or two books and say, yeah, this is something worth reading, or no, this is pretty awful. I'm going to get better with reciting stories because I can't tell stories good. But that's what I was reading, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like I said, if you like anthologies. These are actually pretty good. They're believable stories because they say that they're based on true ghost stories, and with some of them, well, actually the majority of them, you can kind of feel like, yeah, that could be true. It's not so far-fetched that you'll be like, nah, this is some garbage. I don't believe that. The majority of them are pretty believable. So I hope you enjoyed what I showed, and I hope it piqued your interest and it made you say, hey, that's something I would actually like to read, and I wanna give it a go. So let me know in the comments. Have you read Ripley's Believe It or Not? If so, did you like it? Did you not like it? And also, um, recommend some comics so others that watch the video and read the comments, they might can say, hey, I recommend this or that, and I'll read it and say, hey, okay, I want to try that out. So as always, I want to thank everybody who took the time out to stop by the channel and watch. I want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. And I hope you come back for the next episode.